at all, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook or even IG, which you can start, then you might be asking, where's Coach Fatimah? Where's Coach Nyla? Last week, you remember Coach Fatimah wasn't here because she wasn't feeling well. Now, I guess look at my throat now, right? You know what I'm saying? But they're here to actually about you right now, which is pretty cool. Nevertheless, quickly, and I have a laptop in front of me. So what I want to do, though, for those of you who are tuned in, again, just to recap, is to talk about, are you man enough for more than one wife? To really evaluate yourself on an honest level. Now, I'm only speaking to those who are actually sincere about expanding their family. I'm talking about those who abuse things or want to play games with women. Many times there are good brothers who are available and considering polygyny, but support. So there's number two, many times we have an issue or it's kind of like a taboo to about, needing help or seeking, circle or seeking different types of assistance. So I'm going to try to be that voice today just for a few minutes. And as I'm doing it, I want to make sure I also share. So I'm sharing as well really quickly to my personal profile, but you can feel free to share with anybody who may feel can benefit. Now, there are a few different things. The first thing I'm going to suggest brothers do when they are considering polygyny, not one spouse. So that means a man having more than one wife or a woman having more than one husband. But for specificity, polygyny means a man having multiple wives. All right. Polyandry, for example, means a woman having more than one husband. Polyamory is both of them having more and usually having interrelationships. So that's not what we're discussing. And if I sneeze or something like that, don't laugh at me, but I'm just saying my throat is a little jacked because of sneezing. But one of the first things I want to talk about is being authentic and being honest with yourself. Because if you're talking about expanding your family, if you're talking about practicing polygyny, that means you're already married. Now, polygyny, one of the things and one of the easiest ways to really understand some of its usage and utility is to recognize what it's not for. Polygyny is not for fixing anything wrong that may be going on in your first marriage, in your relationship. That's not what it's for. It's not going to fix something that's broken or add something to go ahead and get this part going. That's not what it's for. It's a completely independent marriage, independent relationship with another woman through marriage. That means you are basically monogamously married to two different women. All right. And I know it's contradicting term, if you will, or oxymoron, but committed to more than one woman, even if it's up to four. So when I say two or multiple, it just means more than one. So that's polygyny. Now, being honest with yourself is this. Many men, and if you're a man watching this right now, you may have the question, something like, I may be talking to you, we're talking about wives or polygyny or something like that, and we can have a conversation, right? You talk to somebody that practices polygyny and been through a roller coaster and learning and different growth, and you might be interested enough to speak with me about it. One, the very first question you must ask yourself is, are you in a place with yourself to be honest about your capability to practice it? This is not about your desire or your wish or your fanciful hoping that you can do it. If the stars align and things present themselves in a certain fashion, and all of a sudden, I know I can do it. I'm man enough to blah, blah, blah. But you can even have the conversation with your current wife. All right. So one is honesty. Honesty, meaning that that there are some challenges you are going to come across. Now, that means it's going to take something more from you than just your wishing that things would be better. So what I mean is, really quickly, let me see, make sure it's cool. Okay, audio's good. What I mean is, you have to know that you have to grow. See, if you're looking at practicing polygyny properly and you're a man and you have standards, then that means you must be fair. You have to be just. You have to grow. You have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable, especially regardless. It's going to be a first time. If you're married, you're married. When you're practicing polygyny, it's the first time practicing polygyny. So I'm talking about your first time. And your first time would be your worst time because you're growing and you're going through some things. So honest with yourself. Can I do it? All right. Now, how do you measure that? The way you measure that is checking your emotional versatility and making sure, or at least gauging whether you can even have that conversation up front, which means you need some courage. All right. And when I say you need some courage, I'm talking about myself as well. This is not just I'm talking to you and giving you this coming from a place of privilege. No, not at all. Alhamdulillah, I've been blessed now, almost 10 years I've been practicing polygyny. Roller coastering. It's that growth that had to happen within my family to get us where we are today. So just to let them give you salams while they're here, because I know some people are like, okay, this is outstanding personal relationship. Where my sisters at? Where my ladies at? You want to come give salams real quick to those who are watching? Oh, by the way, you're chiming in from different parts of the country. Let us know what country, what state you're chiming in from, where you're watching from. Give us salams. Yeah, she's holding IG. And so they're here and they're listening and can concur with what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's the roller coaster years. Those are the years of growth. Those are really committing to the process, which is what we're going to be talking about more tomorrow morning when we go live. We don't normally go live on Saturday, but this is important and it's better to get this information out faster than slower. So let us know where you're chiming in from. Feel free to share the information. All right, subscribe to the YouTube channel if if you're not. Go ahead, like the Facebook page, all that stuff to stay connected. Because again, we like and thrive on the connection as well. And say, Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh from Medina. Oh, subhanAllah, the best place I've ever been in my life. Home in Medina. That's alhamdulillah. Coming in from Medina. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so with that being said, here's the thing. Courage. Why is courage important? Courage is extremely important because most men, and I had a conversation with someone and she's fascinated by the fact that men can be manipulated or they can be affected by women's emotions. And I'm telling you, the way we're designed and the way we're created is amazing. And what I mean by that is men have the physical strength in general. I'm not talking about the exceptions. Some woman that elbow a dude and, drop kick him and suplex him. I'm not talking about those sisters. I'm talking about in general, men have strength. Men are the hunters. They're the ones that have the physical strength. Right? Well, women tend to have more emotional versatility. They can deal with babies, baby language, talk intellectual language, but they have this supreme influence when it comes to men. The men's primary driver is women. Okay, sometimes people don't want to hear that. Men's primary driver is women. I'm not talking about the exceptions, the men who don't like women, the men who want to look like women and all that. I'm not talking about the exceptions. I'm talking about men in general. So somewhere you see men driving these nice cars, is to attract women. Okay, and I was just recently studying some stuff just on a biological base level, and it talked about the cost of sex, not price wise, but it talked about the cost of sex and how for men it's relatively low. Men want certain pleasure, it's relatively low, meaning they can decide to stay around to raise a child or anything that may come from that interaction. But women, the cost is high. So they're looking more for security, somebody that's stable, because they're looking at, if I'm going to have sex, well, if I get pregnant, I might die. First of all, I have to be uncomfortable for 40 weeks of my life with something growing inside of me. So I need to make sure that this other person is going to be here, help take care of that, help take care of me, nurturing. I might die during childbirth. This is a whole lot of pain to go through to give that away to somebody. And then after the child is born, there's a time after the childbirth and everything else, and then raising this child. So the cost of it for women is much higher than it is for men. Men can do as they say, he didn't quit it, not deal with the repercussions. And it was just talking about at a base level. We're not talking about morality, not talking about religion or spirituality. We're just talking about in general. And unfortunately, we see how that has ravaged society today when it comes to single family households. I mean, I'm in a city right now where 8 out of 10 homes is run by a single parent, usually the mother, and what that does to the society. But again, we're not going there. But we're going to courage and why it's important to have these conversations, because as a man, we like to be looked at as lions. We like to be looked at as leaders. We like to be looked at as strong, right? As being able to provide that security. And someone challenges that, it almost challenges your manhood. So we have to be the ones that are courageous, starting in the home, So when I say many men even have the conversation of polygyny, many times it's funny because the emotional repercussions that can come from that. One, is a taboo thing. It's not a societal norm right now. Now, people practice unrestricted polygamy all the time. That's the boyfriend, girlfriend thing. They date all the time. They sample this and that and all kinds of stuff that goes on. Basically, it's polygamy, though it's without the marriage, if you will. So people stacking up bodies and all kind of stuff on both sides of the scale where there's not that commitment to self, number one, and to someone else or others, number two. With polygyny, polygyny is designed as an institution of marriage. It takes commitment and moving on. It takes that man to be strong to begin with. So with courage, can you even have the conversation? If you cannot have the conversation, usually boils down to a couple of different things. One, again, our programming in this society is that this is something that shouldn't be done. As a man having more than one wife, we give it all kinds of other stuff where he just wants to have sex. Guess what? It's a whole lot easier to just go ahead and have sex or have an illegitimate relationship, as people do, whether it's your politicians or religious leaders or neighbor next door, than it is to actually marry someone, take on the responsibility of marriage and raising a family. So to just boil it down to just sex is actually pretty immature. But, you know, it is what it is. Most people aren't built for it, let alone mature enough to even discuss the topic. One is societal norms. I go against it. Second part is emotions and controlling men. That's where I kind of started to come back around to. It was not really controlling, but it affects men. See, men like to be known again as the providers, as the lion, as the one who are courageous and so on, not being coward. That's a big insult toward the men and their testosterone, if you will. So if you have a conversation about polygyny and desiring it, it's much easier to just say, no, baby, you all I need. You know what I'm saying? You everything I need. I'll never think about having another wife, which is cool, which is the average, and that's general. I mean, there's even been books written about how to keep your man monogamous, which is really interesting because they have the desire, whether Muslim or not, it's just there. Whether or not you'll be able to execute upon it, that's to be seen. But are you able to have a conversation? Because this may go into the strength or lack thereof in your relationship. Maybe there's not enough openness, transparency to be able to deal with the emotions that come from that. And I understand the logic. Why ruffle any feathers if I'm not looking at being able to do that anyway? Or on the flip side, I'll go ahead and, I'm sleeping around. She knows I'm sleeping around, but I'm staying here and I love her. Those are just acts that I'm doing with other people. These type of things, are relatively common. It works. Celebrity, non-celebrities do it. It really is what it is. Again, it's common. But when it comes to something like marriage, now that gets ostracized and talked against because there are emotions and things that go there. That, again, is against societal norms. So courage as a man, if you're looking at expanding your fam, best practices is one, you should be able to have the conversation with your current wife. If you are unable to, one, again, you're lacking courage. Now, I'm speaking from a place of experience. It would have been better for me the way I went about polygyny to have a conversation, had this understanding first. I didn't do that. So I'm talking about why these first few years it was a right forth, because if you don't do that, you're not demonstrating being courageous. We're not just talking about financially or materially. You're talking about you have to protect that person's emotions, protect their heart, and not be able to crack that trust and cause a problem in that foundation of that relationship. You still have to provide love and honor and care. And by not having that conversation first, it can cause drama with that. And it's not good. It's not healthy. It doesn't feel good. And as a man, you kind of went the cowardly route by not having that done. So again, speaking from experience, and that thing is really moving. Get elbow off the table. This one is shaking. And as a man, you don't want your manhood challenged in that way. You want to be able to be that provider, that protector, have the conversation. Will you be uncomfortable? Yes. You're going to be uncomfortable. It's not part of a societal norm. You're breaking from the normal. Now, the normal just average anyway. So what? Minimally, you'll get respect grudgingly. They might not like what you talk about. It may be a taboo subject. You're letting things know where they stand. You're being authentic. So that part can be respected because you're being upfront. Otherwise, you got to build that respect, that trust back up. And it sucks because if you got somebody, you know what I'm talking about. If you have a friend, you have somebody that you're cool with and you trust them, and all of a sudden they break your trust and go all the way left out of something you wouldn't expect, period. It's going to take some time to get back to level 10 if you did something that's like level 1-ish. Or you could just be done like, I'm done with person, can't trust them. It is what it is. That happens a lot. And it happens because men aren't behaving like men in general. And it's our responsibility to do such. So if you're already married, one, help protect and provide for your first wife and whoever you may be considering marrying or whatnot. At the same time, you as a man got to juggle this now. Now you have to deal with these different emotions. So either you're going to go ahead and cater or be manipulated because it's going to be pain. So it's a matter of pain management. Pain management comes out with being proactive as a man, having the courage to deal with some stuff and whatever comes from it. Now, there are many toxic ways things get handled. There's toxic ways women deal with it. There might be threats of divorce, taking the kids, all kinds of stuff. Why? Because those emotions fizzle a man and challenge their manhood. They get you upset. Those emotions are there to pretty much keep you in place so you just ain't oppressing and going all the way crazy on sisters. Okay. Let's see that in the frame. Can you move that? Laptop. All right. So, or put the top down. So it's below. Cool. Thank you. All right. Now, I lost my train of thought there trying to get things together. Going back to the whole concept, what I'm talking about is, so you're supposed to be that protector and that provider and that maintainer. You'll get threats. You'll get all the toxicity that come with that. It may possibly be true. So the question you have to ask yourself is, one, am I willing to forego what my desire is to marry more than one and being upfront about it and deal with living with resentment for in a relationship in that fashion? Or am I willing to deal with threats coming to fruition? Am I willing to say, okay, cool. Well, obviously I thought our bond was stronger than that, but it's not stronger than that. So if you're threatening divorce or threatening taking the kids, am I cool with that? Again, you have to weigh that risk. I've seen sisters get hurt on both ends. All right. So I've seen it where somebody would threaten this and threaten. Brother was married. All of a sudden he divorces his newlywed and stuff like that. Put through all these hopes and all this stuff because the first one would threaten and talk crazy, and then go back to the first one and just live in misery because he has kids there, and literally told me, well, I'm living in misery. Well, you should have did that to begin with. If you knew that was going to be a thing, those were the threats. She's willing to do all this type of stuff. Don't do it. Don't do it. Why? Because you got to build your courage up enough to be able to handle it and be able to do it. Or you need to be probably divorcing something. Now, that's your business because you have to go ahead and make decisions for your family. But again, I'm talking about assessing yourself and whether or not you're honest enough with you. And two, you're courageous enough to go to the next step because it's not our job. We're not to be playing with sisters' emotions on either side. Now, again, there's usually going to be pain. First wife is going to feel pain. It's going to feel it. It's not a societal norm. So there's going to be insecurity. There's going to be a lack of trust. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes on there, depending on her level of growth and maturity and your openness to communication and goals and all these types of things that are there. So that's going to happen. That's going to be uncomfortable. That should cause you, or at least help inspire you to grow, to become more, to be more reassuring, to grow in the areas and become more of a man, if you. Then on the flip side, you have this thing that you don't want to ruffle these emotions. The first wife, that's normal and natural. But that stuff is going to go there. That stuff is going to be there. But now you as a man have to make the decision on when does that lever shift? Because now if she's pregnant or, postpartum or this, okay, well, I'm okay with it, but this and this and that. Now that could turn into a point of manipulation. So I can say something. I can be emotional about something and make him do what I want. Well, I need a little bit more time tonight or today or whatever the schedule is. Now she's making a schedule versus you making a schedule and being fair. Again, courage. May not be comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be, but you have to get irritated in order to grow. Just like the oyster has to get irritated in order to really get that pearl. Just like the piece of coal has to be pressed under pressure to create that diamond over time. It's a process. Just looking back behind me, if you can see the screen, that's a part of our store. There's some courses that we have available for people. This one here is the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle program. Tomorrow on the 19th, we're going live with our Relationship Mastery Inner Circle members. We're deep into a training about committing to the process, and they're going to have the worksheets and the downloads and all the stuff from a private broadcast. That's not going to be on YouTube. It's not going to be on social media. This is for our RMIC members, period. So that's a course that we have there that goes deep because we know that mastery is a process. It's not just one event. And then right here in the middle, this is your goal setting, goal getting course. Matter of fact, I just recorded this this month. And it's a goal setting, more advanced goal achievement program. So have you set goals? Have you made your emotional bridge to keep yourself motivated? Because by now, most people are already giving up on their New Year's resolutions. And we're only a couple weeks into the month, the decade. And most have already given up. But that's another one. Matter of fact, that's 197. And we have a code where, you know, if you're on an email list, you get the code, then you can actually get it for $27. So that's crazy. And then, of course, over here, if you are considering understanding going from monogamy to polygyny and the different pitfalls and the challenges, my wives and I made a course on that to really share from our different perspectives. So that's one thing you need to do is education, educating yourself for growth, not just intellectually, but we have to grow emotionally and stuff as well. And it takes courage. That's the first step. Have the conversation. All right. You'll be more respected as a man all across the board if you handle your stuff up front, if you're interested in polygyny. Now, most, again, you can't have that conversation. Whether Muslim or not, it doesn't matter. Come across men like, man, I say anything like that around my wife. It's like a cuss word or something. This big old taboo, even mentioning it is sad. But what does it say about our state of affairs as men? All right, we know that it's a solution. So with that being said, I want you to just drop those gems because I know that one, honesty is, all right, having the courage to do what you need to. And then, of course, there's damage control. Because say you didn't do it. Now there's damage control we have to do, which takes longer, a lot worse than preventive. Because we already know an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. So it's better to handle stuff up front than later. It's better to handle stuff with a little bit of discipline than it is with a whole bunch of regrets. So prayerfully, I'm answering some questions for you. I can't see if we have any. Okay, wow. Yeah, there's a few questions. Alaikum salam, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Safia or Celeste. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, please feel free to go ahead and put them in the stream or whatnot, because I have to go get my daughter to work shortly. So we're going to wrap in less than 10 minutes, inshallah. And also it'll be almost time for Salat al-Maghrib. So with that being said, if you have any questions on what I talked about today, honesty, being courageous, being a man, really moving forward in that direction, ask. Or for something else, you know, again, tomorrow, we're also going to be going live, inshallah, tomorrow morning, God willing. But I had to speak on this topic because it's very, very important. And many times we don't hear it from the men. Now, why you may be asking about reasons. Now, one of the things that people don't like to ask, what is the reason that men take more than one wife or marry more than one wife? There's many different reasons. But do we have a course specifically for men? The going from monogamy to polygyny course is extremely, extremely, extremely important. It's not only for men, but it helps men understand the women's perspective as well. And that's what I want to talk about right now, because sometimes it says, oh, men want to, you know, they get married. They don't care about the emotions. They don't know, like we're just, you know, airheads or something. No, you know about the emotions. You know that there's going to be jealousy, there's going to be hurt, there's going to be pain, and stuff with the first wife in particular. Then the second wife is going to be some unsurety. She may make some concessions, or, you know, and people come with, oh, she knows what she's getting into. And the other one's like, well, you know, how are they going to cooperate with each other, if at all? So there are all these things that go on. But as a man, you have to be able and willing to address these things. Even if you don't know how right away, you have to be working towards that, because that's our responsibility. Again, protecting and providing. Not that we have in our store yet. However, by the 31st, I'm going to be wrapping up, finishing editing a course for brothers on leadership and going specifically from monogamy to polygyny and expanding. So it's detailed, but by the end of the month, inshallah ta'ala, it will be in the store. And our OPR store is at outstandingpersonrelationships.com/store. Okay. And again, if you want the discount when it comes to the goal setting course, make sure you're on an email list, because we're going to send it out tomorrow. We haven't even, you know, we haven't let anybody know about it. We just put it up. So here, Rukaya, yes, trust is absolutely a big thing. I mean, why Yaki, our men are deep that are needed this type of information to see. Alhamdulillah. That's, you know, it's our responsibility to get that done. So Sakina, the co-wires, alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I don't really see any more questions coming in. If y'all see anything, RG? Okay. Now, reasons for marrying, plenty different reasons for marrying. But if you're the one asking that question, just know you won't understand anyway. And I'm not being facetious. What I'm saying is, just like I would never understand what it is for a woman to have premenstrual cramps and to go through a cycle or give birth. No matter how close I may be to a woman, they go through so many different things. It's crazy. So the way we're designed and the way we create it, that's the thing. Again, that's our main motivator. That's our staple. That's a drive. It is what it is. So it's hard to really explain. It's not just some sexual thing. Again, the sexual thing is there. Women know that, right? They know prostitution will be a multi-billion industry. Porn will be a multi-billion-dollar industry. All these types of things that happen when it comes to sex in particular. All right, so that drive, particularly in men, regardless of if it's, it was funny. I was looking at this study dealing with men, period, whether it's straight men or gay men, that kind of junk, and they talked about really just the drive in men versus women. Now, whole different type of thing, whether it's straight men or gay men, that kind of junk, and they talked about really just the drive in men versus women. Now, whole different type of thing. That ain't what we're talking about. But the point is, sex or a driver in men is something that's in men, period. So, but is that something to say, oh, I have just driver for a second, let me just go ahead and marry multiple women? Nah, because marriage is far more than about sex, period. You know, I'm just saying, it's just ridiculous. So many different reasons why I understand it, why I even ask, I guess. As my wives are laughing at me and covering their heads. So let me reel that back in. All right. Y'all anything to say, ladies? No. All right, Abdullah. ED, you got a question? We have a forum here where you can download our 5 keys to a fulfilling marriage, especially in polygyny. You go there, put your name on the email list, you get some emails from us, you can download that special report, and then you also get a coupon code for the goal set and goal getting. I'm telling you, this goal set and goal getting is a whole nother level. It's not, this ain't some write down your goals and list this and wish stuff into existence, use the law of attraction and don't do no work. Nah, it's super dope. It's one I'm very excited about that because it's amazing. And I think personally it's gonna take you probably 3 to 4 days, maybe up to a week to complete the assignments and really get some juice to go ahead and move forward this decade. But you go to our website, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, and then you'll see right there where you can put your name and email address in, download the report, and you're good. ED, if you got a question, I'm assuming it's a brother, ain't necessarily the best issues, but if you got a question, bro, just joking with you, it's fun. But if you have a question, please put it in there because I'm out of here in about 4 minutes. Like that's gonna be a wrap because my daughter is more important than this right now. Okay, I'm Lila. All right, let me see. I'm trying to scroll to see. Y'all see any other questions, ladies? Wait, I haven't even seen these comments though. It's like, say it again. I'm looking at Facebook right now. Do you see anything? Because I can't open it for me on this page like this.
Well, shout out to the people from UK, Detroit.
UK, I don't even see none of that. I see none of that. UK and Detroit? Yeah, across the pond. Maybe men want more than one wife, how we want more than one child. We built different in some aspects. Our gender are alien to another, just how it is. We have our understanding. I mean, indeed, it's different. It's different, but yeah, I can see what you're saying. Would you consider putting up a sign with the email address? Go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. All right, so like you can contact us at support@outstandingpersonalrelationships.com or whatnot, but you can reach us there. You know, if you go to the Facebook page, you hit the page, you'll go to our website. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe because then you'll get notification when we go live. Like tomorrow morning, inshallah, we're going to be going live for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to go into our relationship mastery inner circle program. I need to make sure I pronounce that right because I be messing that up. So, yeah, okay. I don't know what kind of herbs. All right. So with that being said, Jazakallah khair. I definitely appreciate y'all. Where's Detroit at? Like, who's from Detroit? I didn't even see that. Oh, IG or something? Oh, okay. All right. IG. Yeah, I know we streaming because it's much easier than going there and have to edit this stuff. Prayerfully, you got some good information. Making sure you're honest, number one. Making sure you're courageous and you're committed to your growth. If you're not using any of our programs, that's cool. But as a brother, I'm telling you, participate in your own rescue. Don't have somebody throw out a lifesaver and try to save you while you're drowning. You're trying to figure this stuff out on your own. We know we don't have somewhere where you can go. I didn't have, and we still don't have somewhere you can go talk about polygyny, comfortable brothers, try to get best practices. It doesn't exist. That's one of the reasons we came out after growing and going through our challenges and had to open it up to the world to let them know, listen, these are best practices. This is what we found to succeed. This is what we know when we work with our private clients. And it's an art and a science to it. All right, but there are things that are universal, like courage. You gotta have it. You gotta be a man. That's an attractive quality to begin with. All right, whether they like it or not, can't nobody deny your courage and being upfront and being truthful and being honest. All right, ain't no substitute for that. Anything else is in the White House. All right, so again, we appreciate you. I told you I gotta go. Jazakumullah khair. Oh yeah, thank you, Ruqayya. I appreciate that. I'm going to pick my daughter up, Ruqayya, because she's waiting on me. All right, so again, I appreciate you. Tune in tomorrow. Yeah, subscribe to YouTube. You get a notification. That's one of the best ways because you get an email. Go to our website. We'll send an email out, and I'm out. Salam alaikum out to the kids. My wives are like, hurry up. All right, salam alaikum. Peace.
Peace.
You good? Still more. Share it to it.